I healed and healed and healed, and then I would rest, and then I healed and healed, rest, and then eventually I just found my truth.
Hello, you beautiful woman. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I am so happy and grateful that you are here. This week on the podcast, I had a recent graduate of the Unperfected Mastermind on the show. Michelle Rose helps heart led businesses build brands that feel like coming home to themselves. With a decade in marketing and sales and years as a mental health therapist, she blends strategy with soul, crafting identities that are as authentic to the owner's truth as they are magnetic to their audience. You guys, this woman has been in my world since 2017, first as a client in therapy, and then years later came into the Unperfected Mastermind while in tandem doing brain spotting with Megan on my team. And she was so excited to come on here and tell her story about how healing allowed her to reconnect to her true passion, which was in the creative field. In the last 6 months, I've seen this woman step into her CEO boss energy, launch a business, do a full blown pivot from a therapist to a brand strategist, and launching a business, to having a baby and buying a house, all because she was brave and bold enough to do the inner work so that she could reconnect to the truth and then start creating a life of her dreams from that truth. We talk everything around her healing and why it's important for women in business to process our emotions and how that clears the pathway to our truth, to our intuition, how utilizing what she'd done before becoming a branding expert played into how great she is at it, being a therapist, learning attunement, and combining that with her intuition, how that makes her way of building brands so unique, rare, and limited edition. We talk about motherhood, we talk about brain spotting, we talk about it all. But I really wanted to highlight this queen success story because watching her become the woman she is meant to be has been nothing less than goosebump effing worthy. And she is one of the ones who has already claimed a seat in legend. P.S. She did the branding for Legend. For those of you that have been loving the marketing that's been going out in the branding around Legend, this queen is the one that has done it for me. So this is our last call for women to join Legend. Michelle Rose has already claimed a seat. We have another fabulous woman who has already claimed a seat. If you are considering putting yourself in a room with women to hold your most epic life transformation in healing, revealing, and rising, it's not too late, you guys. We start this Wednesday. So reach out to me, private message me on Instagram. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if this is the right fit for you. And I cannot wait for you guys to hear this story. I'll see you soon. Hey, babe. I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America. Women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod. Michelle Rose, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here, my love, and to be in your energy and to have this conversation. Thank you for making time for us today.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to be here and having this conversation with you.
Yeah. So, y'all, let me give you a little background on the Michelle Rose. She is a recent graduate of the Unperfected Mastermind, but we go way back. And I've been able to witness this gorgeous mama's transformation for years now. And we're going to get into exactly what that was because it was more than the mastermind. She's been involved, let's just say, in the unperfected brand at all supportive angles, which I cannot promote that enough. We're going to talk about how that healing aspect is so important to the becoming and the rising. Um, but I have seen you grow, girl. It has been so fun for me to witness you becoming a therapist, then witness you becoming a mom, then witnessing you pivoting while raising your beautiful daughter, while breaking generational patterns. Like, girl, you are someone I want to highlight. So I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you.
So let's talk about it. So, what you had just mentioned before we hit record, you were
Hmm.
talking about your journey being in the unperfected brand. Why don't you walk us through that journey? Like what's been going on inside your transformation in the last couple of years?
Yeah. I mean, couple of years. There was one thing I do want to highlight about my experience with you meeting you is I remember this was 2017. I was a little
Oh my
baby,
god.
desperately needed a therapist who like just felt good, felt right. And I remember talking to a few, and every time I would tell them what I needed to be seen for, I would like end up like tearing up or crying or something. And I remember telling you, and you were like, okay, like, let's get you scheduled. Like, we've got this. Like, I will walk with you in this. And I remember not crying in that
Mm.
call. And I was like, there's something so just resolute about that, about feeling like I believe her. Like, I truly believe this woman will walk with
Mm.
me. And I didn't feel
Mm.
like a victim in that first conversation with you. And I was like, that's what I needed from someone. And I'm so happy it was you.
That's
Yeah,
going to make me cry because that's huge. That's huge. Like you can be in the depths of hell and let's go, girl. Like I got you, you got it. Like we're going to do this thing, right?
yeah, yeah. And hearing that confidence in your voice made me confident that I could do it. Everyone else was kind of, it just,
Mm.
there's a difference with you. And I felt it immediately. And I was like, I believe her. I can do this.
Mm. I love that. Oh my god, that was 2017.
Yeah.
Girl. Okay. So you enter the world when you're a chicken
Mhm.
nugget and I'm probably more of a chicken nugget too and we start therapy together. And what do you remember what was your reason for starting your healing journey? What were you wanting to get out of that experience?
Yeah. I just wanted to I there was something in me where I knew I could feel myself starting to repeat cycles and repeat patterns in relationships. And I just didn't, it felt yucky, it felt icky. I didn't want to do it. And so I didn't
What
know
were
where
some
to
of those patterns? Do you remember what some of the
begin.
patterns were?
Yeah, some of them were just kind of those, it was black and white thinking, like very that just very deep black and white thinking. And then also just emotional dysregulation is basically what I can call it now, but at the time I had no idea why I would swing from crying and being sad to wanting to, get in an argument with someone and then just trying to like make it up and be giggly and happy and like get their forgiveness. I didn't understand what was going on. I just knew it felt, I've witnessed it and I didn't like how it felt on the other end. So I didn't want to continue acting that way, knowing how it felt being on the receiving end for so long.
That's really wise for you to even have that like inkling at that age. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's pretty extraordinary. A lot of us don't realize that we're repeating patterns until we're I don't know, further along in our life. So how beautiful for you to recognize that in yourself and be like this is not who I am. This is not how I want to relate. This is not how I want to feel and I
Mhm.
want to start this journey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's move along in your
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, now that I can reflect back on it, it felt like it was my imprint. Like that was it was in my design to be that person and take on that difficult role in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what did you learn in therapy, or what were some of the transformations that you feel like you've made in therapy that then positioned you to years later join a freaking mastermind?
Yeah. What didn't I learn from you about being a functioning adult, really? Um, just so much. Every layer of everything, um, mental health wise and just human wise too, of like highlights I can think of is just like feeling your emotions, like creating a safe space to feel them. I definitely didn't wasn't taught that. So being able to be like, it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be mad. Like you don't have to, deflect it or shove it down or X, Y, or Z with it. It was very much like you can just be upset. You can just be sad. And it doesn't have to like have this undertone meaning or this hidden meaning to it about the other person. That's like kind of how the mindset that I was taught is that, oh, you feel upset. So that has to mean something about that person. And it's very
Mm.
much not like that. And it's very clear to me now. That's not how the world works. um, so just being friends with our
Mm-mm.
emotions, I think, was like one of the major first lessons I learned with you. And then also just not being so hard on myself. Like, I was so
Mm.
hard on myself. I would like meet a goal and I would double down and be like, well, you can do better. And it was so entwined with my self talk that I didn't even know that that part was so active all the time, like that overachiever, overworking, perfectionist, people pleasing driven self was just so at the steering wheel all the time. And I felt the chaos within from that. So just being able to start differentiating all those parts and seeing them through, like it being okay that they feel that way, it being okay that they exist, and making friends with them to the point where we can they don't have to be in charge all the time, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's identifying your parts, right? Your protective
Mhm,
parts, which is the perfectionism, the control, all of that, making peace with it so that way you manage it versus it running your life. So many women in business have their inner critics running their lives. And
mhm,
then we wonder why we're not happy. Cuz
mhm,
that inner critic, she gets things done. Like she's a baller. But we are learning now as women, as mothers, it doesn't have to be so intense. There doesn't need to be so much pressure. It Perfection doesn't exist.
mhm,
And so that was a huge part of our work, is identifying all your parts and integrating them so that way you could rightfully take your place as the higher self, the CEO who's making the decisions for your life. And
mhm,
so, and also you touched on the processing emotions part. Like that is so important. Actually, that's where I want to go. Why do you think it's important for especially women in business to learn to feel and process our emotions?
mhm. I think it's so important because we're making decisions, right? We're making decisions with um like weight attached to them, right? Like whether we acknowledge it or not, like there are consequences for a lot of the decisions that we make. And not to like add pressure, but it's more of like you want a clear head in the sense of like having clarity in your emotions, because I know when I make decisions when I'm upset, it looks a lot different than from when I'm calm and centered. Or when I'm sad, I make a lot of the decision can sound a lot different. So that's like one of my clues too, like running a business or just running life because life feels like a business sometimes, is
Mhm.
feeling where that like that decision comes from, that result is leading towards, and I'm like, that doesn't feel quite right. Like, where is that coming from? And it's usually an
Yes.
unprocessed emotion that's kind of like hiding away, or one of the things that I feel like I recently realized about me, and this was probably from the last 6 months with you, is I hide my perfectionism because I'm not type A. Like, I'm not the type
Ooh.
A perfectionist. I'm like the type
Mm,
C one, where it's so it can really hide like my perfectionism, my overworking. um it can really weave, it just hides because you have that type C where you're like a little messy, sometimes a few minutes late, a little disorganized in some places, but that perfectionism is sometimes the engine working you forward, and you don't realize it till you're like, wait, why am I even here? How did I get here?
mm, mm. So it's almost internal. That perfectionism is more internal for you than external.
Hmm. Yeah, like I
Hmm.
have no problem like meeting clients and having like my hair in a messy bun and like wearing a graphic t-shirt. Like, that's not how
Yeah.
perfectionism shows up for me. It shows up as, did I say the perfect thing to this client when they needed it? Like, they weren't doing well. Was
Hmm.
that the right way to explain it to them? Like, do you think they
Mm,
understood that well enough from like those, that very much like internal talk of like,
mhm.
did we get it
Yes.
that 10 out of 10 every time? So a lot of that was having to be like unworked as a therapist, because you don't you it's about being there more than it is about always saying the right thing.
Yes. So how do you manage that? Yeah, that's so real. I know there's people resonating with that right now. It's the constant, it's like the judgment of, did I do it right? Did I say it right? And you almost like just really like obsessively think about it and replay it in your head. Now that you're a business owner and a mom and you're running all these things, how are you managing that? How are you managing the type C internal perfectionism, the voice inside that's constantly asking you if you did it right, did enough?
Hmm. Two ways, and
Mhm.
one of them is rest. Like, honestly, like, just that has been one of the most that has always been like my radical decision, like every step of the way, of like
Heck
healing
yes, girl.
generational
Rest.
trauma, like all of that. It's always just the radical things, choosing rest sometimes. And that's one of the things that I
Yes.
prioritize, is like, I have four big decisions to make. I have this to do, house things to do, and I'm like, if I can't see clearly a path forward, you need rest. And that,
Ooh.
like, that's where I go, okay, like, you need some water, and you need to like go sit and just take some deep breaths, just take in the air.
Taking the Okay, so I want to highlight this because this to me is freaking revolutionary. You have launched a business, had a baby, bought a house, while, friends, here's where you need to lean in because this is the part that's revolutionary, while prioritizing rest. That's this is living proof that this can happen, you guys. Like, I feel like us perfectionists, yes, we want more and we want the business and we want the clients and we want the experiences and we want to be able to contribute and la la la. The only way that we're gonna make waves in the universe, ladies, is if we also break free from the paradigms that told us that our worth was tied to our output and prioritize rest and process our emotions. Because what you were also saying earlier, which was really important for people to hear, is that by feeling your emotions, you get closer to your real truth. That is also revolutionary. We're all walking around trying to make decisions from our anxiety, from our fear, from our upset, from our unworthiness. What I hear you saying is I process my emotions. That gets me into a regulated state where I can connect to the truth. And that's where I make decisions from. And when we operate from that place energetically and with precision, while also resting and showing up for ourselves, ladies, this is how we build extraordinary lives. It's not about just the hustle. And I'm not afraid to work hard. Neither are you. But what's the point of spinning wheels and going down the wrong direction versus resting, taking in the freaking air, like she said? For some reason, the visual of that is hilarious to me, just like you, like breathing in air. I don't know. Um, it's gonna get us the it's gonna get us the clarity of what is actually the next move here. And this is like big girl shit we're discussing. Big girl shit. So you've made a massive pivot in the last 6 months. Tell me about that pivot. Tell me how you got to it because I feel like you processing your emotion and you doing your healing work is what unearthed your truth. And from your truth, you've like found something that you're extraordinary at and you've now have a business around it. So what's that been like for you? Tell us your story there.
It's exactly what you said it is. I healed and healed and healed, and then I would rest. And then I healed and healed, rest. And then eventually I just found my truth. Like I unweighted myself from a lot of things from, I call it my past life now. um, that it allowed me to see my truth and experience my truth. And it was something I've known the last couple of years. Um, but I finally had the bravery to admit it to myself and do something about it. And that basically looks like I was a creative kid, right? Like I loved being creative. It was my coping mechanism for a really long time through my whole childhood, my teen years, even through adulthood. Um, Creativity was my coping skills, my happy place. Um, and as more as I've healed and also starting my own practice and with entrepreneurship, it really combined the two of like, oh, both of these things can coexist, of like we can do business and be creative at the same time. That it's not a um they're not separate lanes. They don't have to be for me. Um so I started my therapy practice in 22, and I redesigned my website probably like 4 or 5 times. And that was like
That was
fun.
a clue. That
Yeah.
was a clue. If you've redesigned your website 4 to 5 times in a couple of years, that's pointing you to a passion you have.
Yeah, and I would always just be like, "Oh, I think I just need to niche down more," um, or just something. I would just make an excuse, and I would just dive back in and have fun and play.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and then I started doing it for like a family member and then another friend, and they were like, "Well, you're really good at it. Like, can you just do it for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And it was fun. I was like, I really enjoy this. Like, let's talk about it. Let's like, and that's just kind of how the idea was born of like, I really like to do this.
Mm.
How can we make this work? And that's kind of when I joined in to the mastermind in January of like, how can I make this feeling that I have while I do this work happen as all the time, like for my work. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
just being in the mastermind had really helped me realize my strengths and be confident about them and to just kind of own them as opposed to being not even bashful, just like embarrassed by having skills and like these
Mm.
things that I'm good at, you know? It was almost like I kind of have to hide it, or I don't know quite know how to explain it. Um, and
Mm.
we got to our CEO life table, and we had those hard conversations with ourselves, and the women in the mastermind also were just so, so encouraging,
Mm.
as being kind of like my testers for like my first round of like, here's my pitch deck, let me run through it, let's go. And now, um, like half of them are now my first clients. And as
Yes,
I've worked on,
honey. Let's go.
so I'm like, well,
That is cool.
yeah. So it was like really helpful with understanding that like I do have something. It's not, this isn't something I'm just making up in my head. Was really helpful for mastermind, like with the group of women that we had, um, because they all gave great feedback, but ultimately they're like, you're helping me because
Mm.
I need this in my life.
Yes. Yes, I mean, that's the power of a group, girl. It's like you came in with this idea that you wanted to percolate and you wanted to protect. And so you joined a group of women that would mirror for you your potential every single day, even when you stray, even when you question. And you entered a container where we got to explore, like, what's my brand and what's my promise and who am I working for and what's my deliverable and why me and I'm the one and personal power. And it's like, it's so smart, you guys, because this is, I feel like this shuts so many women down in business. We have an idea and we don't protect it. We go and tell our husbands and they naysay, or we tell our dads and they naysay, or we tell our colleagues and they naysay, and we squash it. But if you take your idea into a protective cocoon where it can grow slowly, but like in such a deep, profound way, like connecting to your mission, connecting to your why, how you want to serve. And then what I love about what you did, Michelle, which was so effing smart, was you leveraged the group as your sounding boards and your feedback partners, and then you turn them into your first book of business. That's what we do in an effing mastermind, right? Now you have testimonials. You guys, this queen is the one that did the branding for Legend. The Legend is the next cohort of the mastermind. This queen did the branding for that. Do you know how much feedback I'm getting on that branding, Michelle Rose? I know you know. People are like, wow, and whoa, and holy smokes. And I'm like, do you know that it's a queen that literally I'm like one of her first ever clients? Here's her number. So if you've been obsessed with the Legend branding, this queen, this is her like debut work. Like what? So you found your thing, girl. You
Mhm.
found your thing. Now, you also layered in recently some deeper healing with Megan, the therapist on my team. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that wove into this masterpiece that is you?
Yeah. So I had like over the last year or two, I hadn't really been seeing anyone. Like I hadn't been seeing a therapist or coach or anything. And I was 6 months postpartum and I was just ready. Like I was like, I feel something brewing in me. I want this shift. I want this change, but I had things that I needed to heal. So I really wanted to take like the twofold unperfected approach of like being in the mastermind with you and start seeing, I had a, what do they call those? Consultation call with Megan. It was like, this is perfect. It's just nice to have a new perspective and nice to have a practice that I already trust. So just seeing it in two different ways at the same time. And we started doing brain spotting, um, for a few specific things that I had gone through. One of them was I did have a traumatic childbirth. So I wanted to brain spot that and just move through it and clear it up and not carry it around anymore. And then a few other things that I wanted to work through and work on, and some um, inner critic voices that I were attached to, like childhood trauma. So we worked through those as well, like through
Mm.
brain spotting, and just still currently seeing her just as that extra support and voice and emotional support and um sounding board, like all the wonderful things that Megan does. And having that in conjunction as the same time as the mastermind was just such a lethal combo for me, in the best way possible. There were some weeks where a couple weeks there where it's hard to work through it all, but it's always been worth
Yeah.
it for me. Um, as I
Mhm.
kind of know the go about of you kind of get through the trenches and feel everything, and then you kind of get to put some things back together and leave what's not yours anymore.
Yes, girl. I mean, that is a lethal combo to be doing the deep inner work with brain spotting while in a mastermind. Like how would you, as because you are also a therapist, how would you describe brain spotting?
Gosh, I love brain spotting, so I I
It's
did
so
it with
hard to
you.
talk about what it is,
I
but it's
know,
epic.
I know. I did it with you originally, like
Mhm.
however many years ago when you first got certified,
Yep.
or when you first took phase 1, and then I took phase 1 and 2, and so I went
Mm.
through all that brain spotting too. And I just knew that's what I needed. I was like, brain spotting for me is what is my go-to when I am sick of thinking about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I know it needs to be processed more. That's kind of how I describe it for
Yes.
myself. So if you're like, when I always suggest it when people are like, something's stuck, I can't quite get it. I don't want to think about it or talk about it anymore. It's really that good go to of like, it's going to get whatever is in there unstuck and process it all up. And I always talk about like, it's like taking every book in your library and putting them out and then figuring out what is worth staying and keeping and what can be condensed and combined, and then you end up with like a pretty little bound book that just gets to go back on the shelf and everything else can just go.
Mm. Oh my God, I love how you describe that because I agree. It's like, I call it declutter the gutter. It's like whatever trauma is stuck in your brain and body that is showing up, like anxiety or repeated negative thoughts or habits that aren't healthy or whatever. It's like you don't even have to know what the F it is. Just start doing brain spotting and it clears that shit out. And when you clear it out of your body and out and file it in a healthy file in your brain, now you're closer to your truth. Now your energetic body isn't spending, and your physical body isn't spending all this energy hosting the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You get to move it and then pour that energy into something else. And so, whether you have something you know that you want to move out of your brain and body, or you don't even know what it is, but you're stuck, I freaking love brain spotting because you don't have to remember the trauma. And even if you do remember it, you're in like a hypnotic state. So, your relating to it is so different. It's not re-traumatizing, and
Mm-hmm.
it work like it's fast acting. And I don't like it's I don't want to promise anybody healing because, bro, are we ever done on this journey? But to me, of all the therapies I've tried, like it gets in there and it moves some things, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, I agree. And as you know, you go through the training, you do brain spotting the whole time. So you've done it
Yeah.
quite a bit, and I've done it quite a bit. And it is still one of my things that it will always be in my resource bucket of if I ever need it, I know it's there because I know how wonderful it works.
Heck yeah, girl. So this journey of you just like healing and then becoming, like healing and revealing who you are and then rising, healing and revealing who you are and then rising. Like you're literally like this walking beautiful testimony of the method. Tell the listeners what your business is now
Mhm,
and tell them like how you do it, because I think the how is so special about what you're doing.
mhm. Um, so what I do on a cognitive level is branding and web design and special projects like rebranding the mastermind into legend. So that's a special
Yep.
project. And
Yes.
on the how though, that makes it so different is that we it's we treat it like identity work. And we really feel into who you are and where you want to go. Like, who are you confident in, who are you comfortable in, or about ready to step into? And where is that person and identity going? And how do we build your brand around that so it's so resonant into everything that we put out there, and it's weaved into who you feel and who you are. And we dig out your superpowers and what people look for you for, and we represent it visually and through words and um, colors and that type of thing. And a huge part too that I feel like I do differently is i I sit with each like brand. And what I mean by that is I absorb the brand. Like, I will see how they do their services. I listen to their voice, how they talk, and I see and hear what others don't. And that's like the special thing that I'm realizing is one of like my gifts is I see people for like their energy and what they bring to the table and what they are, what is unsaid about themselves. Um, and we help translate that into words and branding and visuals, um, and weave it into everything. Like, there is intention and energy weaved into every product that I create because I'm with you. Like, I'm with your business, I'm with your energy, and I really try to weave it into like everything we do. Whether it's like the tonal shade of gold that we pick for you. Like, I was very intentional of the one that I picked for Legend, and just the way we're represented in all of that. And I was lucky enough to be able to do the brand photography as the photographer for Legend too. And it
So
was
fun.
so special because it was like I got to capture Brooke exactly how I see her in her power, and like through the
Mm,
energy of Legend. And
mm.
that just unlocked like that many more opportunities of like, wait, this combo is really juicy too, that we like now I do offer like adding it on to packages, because having the same person involved and weaved in everything that is someone who truly gets you and what you're trying to convey is everything for business owners, especially women entrepreneurs.
Yes, yes, and yes. Like you have this, it's your intuition, but it's also your skill of being a therapist where you're really attuned to your client and present to the whole person in front of you. And really, like, you pay attention to things that a lot of people would miss. And then you like mirror back to the person the identity that you see them in. And then you co create the brand together. And that is extraordinary. That is not what every branding expert does, or does it the way that you do it. And it was so fun because you've like been in my world for a long time. So to have someone that I trust mirror for me my identity and the identity they see me in was so fun. And I've had many photo shoots in my life, and I have felt the most comfortable and the most me in the one that you recorded. And because of that, it's the best one that I have, because I'm not in my head. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. It's not awkward. I mean, we were just like laughing and singing and dancing. Like,
Mhm.
so I also want to highlight that, ladies, when you make a career pivot, listeners, when you make a career pivot, everything is information and everything is a lesson and a blessing preparing you for the next thing. So by healing, Michelle remembered her intuitive superpowers and reconnected to them and started harnessing them. And then she leveraged her skills that she learned being a psychotherapist of attunement and paying attention and really listening for what's not being said. So that now, when someone wants to create a brand which is a representation of your fucking gifts and gold and magnetism and all of it. She is looking at all of that. And when you can't even see it or name it or articulate it, she's bringing it to you through energy and visuals. And that's freaking cool, my love.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I can't wait to see how it evolves as time goes on, as I learn something new or harness something new, refine it with every client that I have and see. And I personally, my overarching mission is to have women be so confident in their businesses that they're putting out there that they're just welcoming in the most abundance that they could ever want, and just promoting that authenticity that we desperately need in the business world. And a lot of entrepreneurs feel it, the consumer is starting to feel it, of just wanting to truly connect with the human behind the brand. And I feel like this is just the beginning of this style of branding and marketing and all of that.
Yeah, it's so fun. What would you say is the biggest identity shift you had going through the mastermind?
I think my like my biggest identity shift was, I think, just stepping into acknowledging that I'm good at what I do.
Ooh, yeah.
And
Say
it's
more about
not
that.
it's not, I think it's you I always the type of person, I realized I was the type of person that I think the best of people, but I would use it as a way to limit the way I think about myself. So I would be like, well, if I can do it, everyone can do it, type of thing. Like, I would use my faith in people being good as a reason to see myself as less, if that makes sense. So being able to realize that, yes, I'm not the best person ever. I'm not perfect, but you can still be really good at something. Like, those things can coexist.
Identity is everything in business. Identity really is. It's like if you believe in yourself, that's going to give you the confidence to show up and sell your stuff and to serve your clients. If you don't believe in yourself, you're going to restrict yourself in showing up, in selling, in serving. And so it's everything. And people don't realize where their real identity is, and that their identity even needs that upgrade. But when you're in a mastermind, you really do look at your identity and you look at the beliefs that you have that are holding you back, and you become the one. You become the CEO who knows her gifts and has what it takes and shows up unapologetically and delivers for her clients, and then also creates a life that she loves. So thank you so much for pointing to that. The last question I want to ask you is, if there's anybody listening to this who's sitting on the fence about joining Legend, and you've already secured a seat for Legend. So if you guys want to be in this Queen's Magic, she's already secured a seat for Legend, which starts when you guys listen to this, it'll be Wednesday. What would you say to the person who's thinking about, should I join this program or not?
If you're on the fence, you're already craving it, because I was on the fence in January and I was like, I know I'm craving it. So just say yes. Like, if you're thinking about it, it's that tiny little pool of where you're going that is pulling you to yes. Like, yes, 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 a million times, because there is nothing like a group that is so supportive of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to get to, that is facilitated by this wonderful, wonderful woman.
Okay, I didn't hear any of that either, but I know you were talking. Oh my gosh, my love. Okay, listen. Michelle Rose, thank you so much for being in my world. It has been literally gorgeous to see the becoming of you. I cannot wait to see where you go from here. This is just the beginning for you. Tell the beautiful listeners where they can go to connect with you.
Yeah. Um, my so I didn't even say it, but my brand name is Rosessence Branding House. Um, and we work to find the essence of who you are, um, and weave it into your branding. So Instagram is Rosessence Branding House and rosescencebrandinghouse.com.
Okay, beautiful, my love. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
And to the listener, thank you for your attention. We will see you same time, same place next week. Hey, boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter, I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at Brooke Jean Unperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it together.